Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. If you like The Mike Wagner Show and you want to make your own podcast, well, let me tell you about Anchor. First of all, it's free. Secondly, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. You can also add any song from Spotify directly to your episodes. The possibilities are endless. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. You can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, many more. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. This edition of The Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs? The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift of Grandma's recipes, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethissphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show. It's time to give a shout out to our official sponsor of The Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, then you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. It takes place in 4 countries with 2 strangers and 1 target where truth is an illusion and those you love will be the first to go missing. It's available in paperback and ebook on Amazon. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and is even loved by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. Order Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, now available at Amazon.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, iTunes, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Mike brings you great guests and interesting people from all across the globe. So sit back, relax, and enjoy another great episode of the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-winning author Mian Mohsen Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mian Mohsen Zia. Available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is a key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming, and what better time to give remembrance that makes you laugh and cry at the same time? Whatever gift for Grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethissphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books. Bring your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show on over 30 podcast platforms, including the MikeWagnerShow.com. Check us out on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Apple, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, and Audible as well. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today, and check out the Mike Wagner Show merchandise at themikewagnershow.com. Also on Amazon.com at the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, makes great gifts 24/7, 365 for your family, friends, and loved ones, and also business clients as well too. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com and check out the Me and Molson Zia store for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, and a lot more. Make sure you check out the Me and Molson Zia store on Amazon today. And also don't forget to donate generously to the MikeWagnerShow.com. Also support us on Anchor FM/support and PayPal at the Mike Wagner Show or Mike Wagner Voiceover. Make sure you do so today. We work hard just for you. We're here with a terrific gentleman who is the founder of Bedrock Business Builders and helps small business owners build and grow their business and reconcile accounts, file taxes, corporate structures, and a lot more. And not only that, he also teaches clients about grants, cash flow management. He's also an entrepreneur with a CPA license and worked with thousands of business owners and over 35-year career. And he also is willing to help you with stealth tax strategies and how to generate cash flow and also how to overcome the machine. We're going to talk more about that. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios in beautiful downtown New York City, the founder of Bedrock Business Builders and 35-year expert, Joe DiChiara. Joe, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. That was a beautiful job. You didn't botch my name. You said it perfectly. And we were talking before before you started recording about my name, how everybody asked me before, how do I pronounce your name? Because they don't want to botch it. You know what people usually botch?
What?
Is my business name. They call it Bedrock Business or Bedrock Builders. Like that's the important name.
Isn't it funny how the mind works? It's like you try to get one thing right and then you stumble on the obvious. I've done that before too, or I was told that I had to focus on trying to pronounce a guy's name, and all of a sudden it's just like, you mess up on something else. I mean, it's just one of those human things. You can't.
It's just funny. I'm listening to this. I'm like, there's a definite pattern here. I gotta ask some of my psychology people what this is all about. There's something going on there, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's important. But, I spend my time thinking about stuff like this in my spare time. But you're right. Yeah, I am an entrepreneur. I was tricked into becoming a CPA by my father. I started my first business when I was 10. It was a casino in my driveway.
Oh, wow.
And I remember like it was yesterday saying, why do people go to work? I'm like, I made like between $3 and $4 in 1970 for a 10-year-old. That was a fortune.
Wow.
And unfortunately, my parents didn't appreciate me, like playing Russian roulette and blackjack in our driveway and actually charging my friends for it.
I would have done that, paper out money back then. So it's like, I would have been glad to do that. Of course, I would have kicked your butt, but that's a different story.
No, they all loved it. They wanted to come back. They were giving me their allowance because they all thought they were going to win, but the house always wins.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my casino days. All the way up to the semester before I graduated from college, I decided, if I'm going to be the sultan of industry, I got to actually run it like a real business, not these, mowing lawns and stuff like that I always thought was a business. Mm. So I leased an ice cream truck. I had done it before, but it was more like hangout with my friends time than running a business. But this time I did everything like to the T. I kept records. I was running a business and I made a good amount of money while I was like driving to the beach to sell little kids ice cream. I was like the hero. And I was like, this is great. Business is easy. I can't wait to graduate. So I graduate, I get a CPA job because you had to get a CPA job to be a CPA. I didn't want to be a CPA, but I needed a license. So I didn't have a choice. So I'm working in the CPA firm. And after 6 months, I get a letter from New York State. And it's got a big red stamp on it. It says tax warrant.
Uh-oh.
And literally, I remember it like it was yesterday because I went into such a state of panic. I actually thought I had to hire a tax attorney. I'm like, what did I do wrong? Maybe that, was I supposed to pay taxes? Who the heck knows? I was like, I called my grandparents. I'm like, I have to, I might have to cancel my trip there because I got to take care of this tax problem. So for 3 days, I didn't sleep. I'm like, how am I ever going to be literally? And I was embarrassed. I didn't want to tell anybody. I'm like, they're going to fire me if they know I have a tax problem. Finally, I asked one of the CPAs, I'm like, what do I do about this? It's like, call the number on the letter. It's like, call them up. It turns out when I leased the ice cream truck, I had registered as a New York sales tax vendor, a New York State sales tax. Because that was, they said, if you want to lease our truck, you got to be legal. So, I want to be legal. I'm going to be an entrepreneur. All it was, there was no sales tax on ice cream. But when you register, you got to tell them, listen, this is a seasonal business. I didn't collect any taxes. End of story. I had to send in a form that said 0, and that was it. No penalty, no harm. But that stuck with me the rest of my career because for some, I think it was subconsciously, I didn't want my clients to go through what I went through. And that's what I found out, that every time, and to this day, because, we ask people, how do you feel when you get a letter from the IRS? It's never a check. It's never good news. Well, although I have a client 3 days ago, he texted me a check for $4,600. We've been waiting like a year for them to send him the check.
Wow.
But, that was good news. But normally it's like, oh my God. And, we were talking beforehand. Did you know that there's over 25 million sole proprietors out there?
It's astronomical number. I mean, 25 million sole proprietors. And, people thought it was 1 million, 2 million, but 25 million. And I mean, it's amazing.
I found this out about 2 years ago. Now, keep in mind, because I'm an entrepreneur, I did all kinds of different businesses. I did all kinds of market research, and I've been on the SBA website thousands of times. And I always looked at the statistics. How many businesses are there? How many small businesses? So, this time I'm doing market research because I'm like, I want to change my business around. I want to do things differently. I didn't want to work with the big, established corporations. So I go on the website, and there's 30 million businesses, and 25 million are what they call non-employer firms. Mm-hmm. I saw that. I used to say, well, those are like corporations that only have themselves, they don't have any other employees. And that's because I came from the CPA world, and everybody was a corporation. So I look at it, I'm like, what is a non-employer firm? Well, they're sole proprietors. I was like, are you kidding me? That's the worst way in the world you could possibly do business. How come they're not S Corps? Long story short, I believe it's by design. They created the S Corp to bridge the gap between low-income business owners, the sole proprietors, and people that own corporations. People that own corporations had money. Because when you own a corporation, there's something called double taxation. I don't know if you remember that. Mm-hmm. There's still double taxation because when you own a C Corp and you take profits out as a dividend, so there's two ways to take profits out. You could take a dividend or you could take it as a salary. Now, if you take salary, you're paying income tax and FICA tax. if you take it out as a dividend, that means that the dividend is a result of having profits. So the corporation first has to pay tax. Okay, think about this. Now the shareholder gets the dividend, they got to pay tax again on their personal. That's the double taxation. To be a corporation was complicated. You needed an attorney. You needed some money. Okay. So the rich stayed rich and the poor stayed poor. It was very tough to grow a business.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and we don't have enough time to go into it, but Schedule C, sole proprietors are at a huge disadvantage when it comes to taxes, tax planning. That's why, people complain about, oh, the rich people don't pay taxes. Well, they're just taking advantage of the tax laws.
Right, yeah.
That were written by rich people that own corporations. Okay? Mm-hmm. So, I said, well, why is this? In 1958, they passed the law to make an S Corp. They didn't bother telling anybody about it. They forgot to tell. Now, I remember government campaigns to drink milk, to do this, remember the commercials about drugs? This is your, they showed an egg. This is your brain.
Is your brain on drugs? And any questions? Yeah.
So there's plenty of government how come they never told small sole proprietors about the S Corp? There is no double taxation. No, what they told them was it's easy to be a sole proprietor. This is on the IRS website and on the SBA website. They said the simplest way of doing business is as a sole proprietor. Well, of course it is, because you're a sole proprietor by default. You don't even get to choose.
So it's almost like being like a freelance, almost like a freelancer in a way.
Well, guess what? Now that I know the facts, I'm like, there's millions of, what do I call them? Accidental sole proprietors, accidental business owners, people that drive for Uber, for Lyft. They're getting a 1099. They are legally considered a sole proprietor. Well, guess what? When you're a sole proprietor, you're under the jurisdiction of not only the IRS, but state and local business laws, not personal. You might have to get a license depending on what state, city, and town you live in. I mean, all the way down to like the village level.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. It's become, it was always complicated. It's become more complicated than ever now. So when I found out about this, and we didn't have a plan on which direction this was going to go in, but this is my mission, because I said there's something wrong with the government not explaining to people that don't have the money to invest, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That the simplest decision, one of the most important decisions on how they operate their business, there is wrong. It's like when they were doing the milk thing, right? You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Milk,
yeah, the delivery of milkman, bring it to your door and everything. I remember those days. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I look forward to it.
But they were pushing milk because they wanted the milk farmers to make money. Now we find out that drinking milk wasn't that great for you.
It's getting more evident thanks to social media.
Did they say, hey, drink, I don't think they had drink silk or almond milk. No, they said drink. Why? There's a whole reason for that. And I believe it goes back to just keeping people down. They don't teach people about financial matters in school. This is another thing. So when people ask me what I do, yeah, I do bookkeeping, taxes, we do a lot of tax problem resolutions. Now we started doing grant research, anything we can do to help our clients get their business on track. We happen to be very, very good at what we do, and it's the foundation. That's why we're called Bedrock. the financials, the bookkeeping, the account, that's, part of the backbone of your business. And sole proprietors don't know this because they're not taught this.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to go on an education. That's what I do. I consider myself a teacher. I want to teach people what I say. This book I wrote, it's called the Itty Bitty S Corp book. Everything you want to know about S Corps. And I said you can get that on Amazon. You have a lot of stuff on Amazon. I was really impressed with that opener.
Yes, I do. And by the way, like for your wife, or say like say if your daughter, grandkids, and everything, if they want to go shopping in New York, they can take a tote bag, or if they're you got some guests coming over, or maybe just dress up your pillow, you can buy that, or Christmas time, birthday time, whatever it is, they're looking for some great garb, and you can also order that on Amazon. You can find all great stuff, and if you're interested, you guys can just let me know by email, and I'll send you the links too. And also, there's one thing I was going to ask as well too, Joe. LLCs. It's like maybe just give people an insight about LLCs.
Absolutely. I was actually that's part of it because. And let me tell you something, the strategies that I incorporate, they're the same strategies as when I came into accounting 40 years ago. It hasn't changed. The only thing that changed was they created these LLCs, and they created them, I think, about 15, 20 years ago. I could tell you the whole history, but it was created for rich investors that invested in passive activities like oil wells, drilling, mining, stuff like that for tax purposes. It's complicated, but they wanted the pass-through tax benefits that they weren't getting.
Mm-hmm.
So it was passed in one state, and it caught on, and it's a legal instrument. Okay. It's what the LLC did for those investors was, instead of being a partnership, see, they could have been a limited partnership, and that means limited on how much you can take as deductions, or a partnership. If they're a partnership, they're legally liable. They didn't want to be legally. These are rich people. If something goes wrong with a oil well, or there's a cave-in with the mine, they don't want to get so they created these LLCs. So they said, great, now we get the legal protection and the pass-through tax benefits like depreciation and amortization that most people don't get, unless you're rich and you're investing.
Mm-hmm.
So the LLC became like coal. It was like, oh, I'm going to be an LLC. And everybody because it was like, oh, there was no logical reason for it. If people went to an accounting firm, they would have said, no, you got to be an S Corp. Because, and here's the fact, the IRS doesn't know what an LLC is. They say, listen, that's all fine and dandy that you're an LLC, you're protected for legal purposes, but as far as we're concerned, there's no tax form for you. If you're so they do what they call a default classification. If you're a single member LLC, which most people are, you're considered a sole proprietor. That's great. You have legal protection. You know how many sole proprietors I've seen get or business owners actually get sued in 40 years? None. Zero.
Wow.
And you're talking about, I'm not saying there weren't lawsuits, but the corporation, the legal entity, didn't do anything for them. They get sued because they didn't pay, creditors, or they getting sued because of this. And they wind up settling it. There's no Now, I'm not saying it's not good to have legal protection, because you get legal protection with an S Corp. You get the same legal protection you get with an LLC.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you also, with the LLC, you get the major disadvantages of being taxed as a sole proprietor. So let me tell you the four main reasons why it's bad to be a sole proprietor. Are you interested in that?
Absolutely. And go ahead with it. It's like, You got me interested. You got everybody interested. So have at it.
So first of all, sole proprietors don't get any respect. Forget about the fact that you go into the bank and you're an LLC. You're a sole proprietor. When you go for a loan, you get the sole proprietor form, which is really the personal information form. Mm-hmm. You're not getting a business loan. You're getting a personal loan, a personal line of credit. It has nothing to do with your business. When you're a corporation, you get the long form because that has your personal info and your business info. So you start separating your business from your personal. So that's one thing. Most people don't even know that. Okay. Sole proprietors get audited 1,000 times more than corporations.
Wow.
Reason being that most corporations have a professional tax preparer. That makes your odds of getting audited go down drastically, because I look at the numbers. I'm like, the CPA firms I worked at, you're talking about tens of thousands of tax returns over 40 years. And I'm like, only 3 corporations have been audited, and all of them had major red flags on them. They should have been. Thousands of sole proprietors have gotten audited. Most of them did not have a professional tax preparer. They did it themselves, or their uncle did it. Okay, so they...
Or like TurboTax or anything like that on computer.
Oh, TurboTax created more business for me than anything. Because it would screw up people's taxes. They're like, I don't know why I had to pay. I'm like, well, it didn't, you put the number in the wrong box. But so they get audited. They got to pay more in taxes. Oh, and another reason why they get audited, not just because they don't have an accountant, because the IRS knows that they're not educated. They don't know how to keep books and records. Nobody taught them. If somebody taught them, they would be a corporation. Listen, the IRS has had, what do they call it? Analytics before Google was even, before the guys at Google were even born.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I remember something about that too, and they said that they're just hiring new people. You hear these Optima tax relief commercials, and it's like they're hiring new agents, new army. They're coming after you. It's like they turn over like crazy. It's almost like a machine.
They are a machine. I call them that. Reason number 3 is sole proprietors get audited. They get disproportionately taxed. They don't have hardly any control over what they pay in taxes. Somebody making 20 grand on a Schedule C has to pay $3,000 in Social Security taxes. Okay, when you're an S corp, if you make 20 grand, you pay 0 in FICA taxes. Now, there's wise guys out there that are going to say, well, you got to have a salary. No, you're not. There's no written law that determines when you got to take a salary. Okay, you got to prove that whatever you're living on is what you're paying taxes on. In other words, let's say it costs you $20,000 a year to live. Well, you got to make $20,000 to survive, right? Mm-hmm. Anything over and above that is beyond what you need to live on. So if I'm making $100,000 with an S corp, let's say, I don't have to give myself a $100,000 salary. Who says I do? There's no law on that. I'll give myself a $20,000 salary because that covers all of my personal living expenses. Mm-hmm. You can't do that with a sole proprietorship. And that little strategy can save somebody $15,000, $20,000 a year. Okay. And the last thing about being a sole proprietor is you get no legal protection. But like I said, when you become an LLC, you're only taking care of the legal protection, but it's irrelevant based on, listen, if you get sued, you want to be protected. Just because you have an LLC or a corporation does not mean you're going to be protected. You still got to operate those entities as separate entities. So, what we're talking about, Mike, is there's a lot of there's obviously over 20 million uninformed people out there. And what I found is, because I ask questions, CPAs aren't cheap, tax attorneys aren't cheap, enrolled agents aren't cheap, but getting audited isn't cheap either. Filing a bad tax return isn't cheap.
Oh my gosh, I've heard horror stories about that. Wow.
So, we do service individuals, people that have a job, and they just need their taxes done. But we really focus on those 25 million sole proprietors to teach them the simple strategies that are going to help them take control of their business. And there's a bunch of ways that we do that. We have Bedrock University, we have a bunch of free courses up there about, incorporating. I have my YouTube channel where there's a lot of information, free information. Mm-hmm. We have a Saturday mastermind with Joe.com, where it's free again, and we just give people advice. We network. We have a lot of fun. And we created this CFO package because knowing that people, it's price sensitive. We're talking about businesses, a lot of them, millions of businesses run at a loss or below the poverty level. We're talking about, I'm trying to serve people that don't have a lot of money, which becomes a business model problem. Unless you want to be a not-for-profit. Well, we found a way to set people up with their business, teach them what they need to know, give them the guidance, do all their bookkeeping, make sure they don't get into tax problems for only $47 a month to start out with.
Okay. All right.
It's because we have a system. It's streamlined. We only do the work that has to be done. These people aren't high maintenance. They just need the basic direction. And that's what we're providing them with.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk more about the package as well, too, along with stealth tax strategies, also how to generate cash flow, which a lot of us need, and also how to overcome a machine in just a minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Mosensia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Mosensia has garnered great reviews and even loved and endorsed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Mosensia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is a key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at a wedding, and even more so at yours. Who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift for remembrance that makes you laugh and cry at the same time? Whatever gift for Grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw, Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books. Bring your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. Also, check out The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com and over 30 podcast platforms. Take us with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to The Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and check out The Mike Wagner Show merchandise at themikewagnershow.com and amazon.com at The Mike Wagner Show podcast. Make sure you get some great gifts for your loved ones today. And also check out the Me and Molson Zia store on Amazon for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also t-shirts, pop sockets, and all kinds of cool merchandise at the Me and Molson Zia store on Amazon. And also support us on Anchor FM, PayPal, and themikewagnershow.com. Make sure you give generously today. We're here with the founder of Bedrock Business Builders, Joe DiChiara, here on the Mike Wagner Show, and he gave some great advice and all about the business world and everything else. And also, we covered a bit of some of the tax strategies, but there's also more stealth tax strategies. And give us a recap or tell more about the tax strategies and how can people take advantage.
So yeah, I provide what I call stealth tax strategies, and what that means is we're running under the IRS radar, and the way that you do that is you do business as an S corp. Okay. Now, who should be an S corp? Basically, anybody that's in business. Okay. I don't care if you're making money, if you're not making money, because I could show you on paper, based on facts, how having a corporation is better than being a sole proprietor. Because when it comes down to it, that's your only choice. Your only choice is to be a sole proprietor or a corporation. Now, there's two types of corporations. You can be a C corp or an S corp. Now, everything, when it comes to deciding which one to be, it depends on what your current tax situation is. So we have people that are actually, they have no taxable income. Okay. Some of them just collect Social Security. Mm-hmm. They don't need any tax benefits. Being an S corp isn't going to help them. But what if they start making money? Imagine if that happens. Now, if they don't incorporate, they lose whatever deductions they would have had as a business. So when I get somebody that has no money or actually is negative money, okay, we make them a C corp because they say, well, if you're planning on making money, let's capture all the deductions, like your home office deduction, your cell phone, your internet, anything that we could deem as business. Because once you decide to go into business, you already have expenses. See, that's another thing people don't. Nobody's ever asked me, when can I start deducting stuff? It's not when you start spending money. Because the minute you start a business, you just converted that desk that you're sitting on into business property, and I can deduct that. You just converted your computer into business property, and we can deduct that. You just made your den into an office, and we can deduct that. And when you deduct it on an S corp, it doesn't show up anywhere. It doesn't show up that these are your this is your house, this is your apartment, this is your home. When you're a sole proprietor, there's a special form for that. It's like you're raising a red flag for the IRS saying, hey, I'm taking business use of my home. Give me a few points for that audit thing, because I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. It makes no sense. So the rebuttals people give me is, it costs too much money to be a corporation. And then you got to file another tax return. Yeah, it costs money, but it also costs money to not plan. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna, and this is, the bottom line, if you're going to start a business and you don't plan on making money, then don't start it. If you're going to start a business and you don't know if you're going to make money, then don't start it. Okay, and believe me, I've started plenty of businesses where I thought I was going to make money, and I did. Most of them I didn't. Most businesses fail. But, so that's the first thing. If your mindset is, hey, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to spend 3 years, it's going to take me time to make the money, but I'm going to make money. Now, I do this even with retired grandmothers. I don't care. I'm like, how old was Grandma Moses when she started? Okay. My mother just opened up an Etsy store. I made her into an S corp, into a corporation. Actually, we put it into my sister's name because my sister is getting a retirement. So she gets the...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, they bought a trailer so that they could not a trailer. Yeah, I guess it's like a trailer. It's like outside so they could have an office so that they didn't mix everything in the house.
Is it like a fifth wheel or something, or?
I forget what. It's a thing outside. They got, what do they call it? A camper.
Camper modules, or I think I got the idea on that one. Yeah, fifth wheels or
it was like $15,000. I wrote it off on a tax return.
Oh my gosh, I'm ready to buy one now.
And it's not on her personal return, so that's what I mean by stealth. Okay, we don't break the laws. We take advantage of them. We only deduct what you're allowed to deduct. And it's pretty simple. It's not brain surgery. When they say that it's complicated for somebody that never did it before. I've done it over 10,000 times.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that complicated. What they say is when you have a board of directors, you have to have an annual meeting. You have to have a shareholders meeting. You have to have documentation. Well, think about this, Mike. If you're the only owner of your S Corp, right? And you got to have a meeting. Who are you going to have a meeting with?
Just myself,
you're the only one on the board. So I'm looking at what's on the internet, on the IRS, on the SBA website. I'm like, what are they talking about? It's too complicated. Yeah, if you bring in partners, if you have other investors, it can get complicated. You need a lawyer. You need agreements. You do need to have shareholder meetings because you got more than one shareholder. But there's 25 million people out there running as a sole proprietor. Why are you telling them that it's so complicated?
Mm-hmm. It's also a scare tactic as well, too. Like I said, to keep them down. We'll talk about how to overcome the machine. You talked about, having like a den or like, say, office space. You can also write off. And I heard something about like, you have to have a certain amount of square feet. Does that still apply with square feet?
No. Okay. So first of all, we're in, what year is this? 2021?
Yes.
Most people are working from home. Now, after COVID, I would say almost every business owner is working from home in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it used to be, taking an office, not that many people work from home. That was like a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and they had all different kinds of rules. It had to be used exclusively for business. You had to meet customers there. And they were all ridiculous rules that really they were hard to enforce. But what they would do is if you took the office and the home expense, you were targeted. It was as simple as that. So, oh shoot, I lost my train of thought, Mike. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's just like, we'll get to that a little later too, like say with square feet and everything else.
So they years ago, they did away with, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to meet customers there. I got a client. She's a psychotherapist. We call it a therapist in the attic. She's been working from her attic since COVID started.
Wow.
Like, we're writing that off. She doesn't meet clients there. It was COVID. So they changed a lot of the rules. And like I said, when you do it through an S Corp, you don't have to give them the information they asked for when you're a sole proprietor. And it's all legal. I have the documentation for it. They call it an accountable plan. All you do is you keep track of your home expenses just like you do when you're an employee. It's actually the same law that applies. You keep track of your expenses that you're personally paying, but it's part of your business. You put it on an Excel spreadsheet. You figure out your square footage. I don't care if it's 10,000 or 100 or even 50.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the percentage and you write yourself a check out of the corporation for those expenses. And that's part of your books and records.
And a good way to generate cash flow by structuring the biz and other things too.
Well, think about, so now I tell people, even if you don't have time, if you have a hobby, if people that have a job, a W-2 and or retirement income, they have taxable income, they should start a business. It's not that hard to start a business. All you got to do is have the profit motive. It don't matter if you go into business and you lose money for 5 years because you're just a bad entrepreneur. But when you open a business and you set up an S corp, you can safely write off the losses on your tax return, reduce your taxable income, and free. And that's how you. So when people tell me, "Oh, you got to spend money," yeah, you got to pay to have a corporate return done. You might have to pay to have bookkeeping done. You might have to pay some stage fees. Let's say it comes out to $1,600 a year. What if you save $5,000 a year on your taxes?
Mm-hmm.
Before you make a decision, let's put this all down on paper. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it always 1,000% of the time it comes out to we got to be a corporation. 98% of the time it's an S corp.
Mm-hmm. And also too that I heard some people say it's like you make money, you put it back in the business.
And you can't do that when you're a sole proprietor because, like I said, you make $100,000, you're paying $15,000 just in FICA tax.
Mm-hmm.
That's not income tax, people. And you want to know something? The truth is that the IRS, the government, doesn't want people to be S corps because it would drain Social Security. You would have millions of people that are paying in now that won't be paying in, or paying in a small percentage of what they were paying. But that's not my problem.
Right.
I'm not the steward of Social Security. I'm like, my clients need the cash.
Mm-hmm.
My clients are like trying to buy houses and paying their rent and mortgages and raising their kids. And that extra $300 a month that they might save makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. And certainly does too. And of course, how to overcome the machine. We'll get to that in just a minute with Joe DiChiara. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international war-ring author Mia Molson Z of Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Also brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is a key ingredient. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. We'll be back with the founder of Bedrock Business Builders, Joe DiChiara, after this time out. This edition of the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss Grandma's meatballs? The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift like Grandma's recipes, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. They're whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Hey, this is Ray Powers. And if there's one thing you can count on in these unpredictable times, it's that you're in good hands getting some great radio, courtesy of The Mike Wagner Show.
That's okay, I'm not looking to rain.
We're back with the founder of Bedrock Business Builders, Joe DiChiara, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And we talked about how small business owners, building their business, how they can benefit and all the obstacles. And Joe's explained a lot of things. Now the part is how to overcome the machine. And tell us more about that.
Okay, so the machine, it's not just the IRS. It's the whole big business establishment, insurance companies, banks. They drown us in paperwork and compliance and audits. Now you got to remember, big established corporations, they have staffs to handle this, but a solopreneur, they're subject to the same kind of rules. If they want to get workers' comp, if they want to get a business loan, and it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming for people. So how do you deal with this machine? Okay, first of all, you got to understand that you're dealing with the machine. You're not dealing with people anymore. That's a fact. When I did audits 30 years, I went in front of an auditor with the documents. We spoke. We looked each other in the eye. Okay? Now you talk to somebody on the phone and you fax them everything and they come up with an adjustment and you're like, I'm handling audits now. I'm like, where did this guy learn taxes? Now, these are auditors. I've gotten some bizarre audits this year. I actually interviewed my aunt. She worked for the IRS over 20 years. Mm-hmm. She let us in on, she's been telling me stories for years and I didn't think she would let me interview her, but there's some serious internal problems at the IRS. Serious management problems, technology problems. When my aunt worked there, they got hacked. They called her into an office and they said, one of our segments was compromised, and they called the people in that their social security numbers were part of what got compromised. You don't hear about this in the news.
No, you don't. It's like you just hear like on, small stream media or, like
it's
podcasts
like
and everything. Yes.
They're like, nah, but this came from she had no reason to lie to me. I'm like, you don't have to believe me, but guess what? I got a feeling that a lot of the problems that they're having now have to do with the fact that they were hacked. There were too many crazy glitches that just didn't make sense. I know of some personally. My mother got the first check. She got a check. No electronic debit. She only gets Social Security. She doesn't file a tax return. She moved. She closed out her bank account. She moved. She didn't get her second stimulus check. We track it down. Listen to this. They sent it to a bank, the bank where she closed her account. We never gave them that information. I have another client who was the opposite. She got the electronic payment, and then they sent her a check.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. There's because I know something about computer programming. Like we could go into a whole nother hour just on the IRS problems. But the first thing is, so you're not dealing with a person. When you get a letter, that it's all computer generated. Mm-hmm. It's all. So now you got to know how to answer a machine. Okay.
And oh my gosh. And you got to answer with these things too. My goodness.
So unfortunately, the way it is, so I'll tell you the way it is right now. It's impossible. It's like you're at war. Mm-hmm. You got to document everything. You got to write the letter. Okay. You got to document, hey, if you have a problem, if you get a letter saying you owe money, you got to send them the letter. Don't expect them to get it or open it. Okay. But at least you have paper proof that you did something. Then you got to keep trying to call them as long as it takes. And my aunt actually gave us the secret. You call them on either a Tuesday or a Wednesday, first thing in the morning. Mm-hmm. Before they open at like 7:30, you stay on hold, and then you're first in the key. So you got to keep calling them until you get a human. Now, sometimes when you get a human,
they're like, what?
it's one of these like temp people they hired just to answer the phone. They don't have access to anything.
Mm-hmm.
You got to keep going until you can get to a supervisor.
Wow.
Or the taxpayer advocate. That's your only other option. That's the taxpayer advocate is like an independent, but they're swamped. They're swamped. So, the thing is, if you have a tax problem, you really got to get a tax professional. You got to stay the course. If you do a refund, you keep calling them. That's the only way to handle it. Mm-hmm. It's like, what do they call it? Just brute force. My aunt is due a $7,000 refund. We had to file an amended return. She worked at the IRS for 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
$7,000 and there's no reason. They're like, oh, we still haven't processed it yet. It's been 7 months.
And work for the IRS. Go figure.
And so unfortunately, the state and cities aren't that much better, but it's just like, listen, you got to be a warrior. You got to don't give up. Just stay on. And even I've told my aunt to call a congressman. And they're swamped too with the complaints. But what's going to happen, it's going to be worse. And I'll tell you why. Yeah, they are hiring over 87,000 revenue agents and revenue officers. Agents collect money. Officers do audits. They only have 80,000 employees now. They're going to more than double with just people that are going to be auditing the people I talked about, the sole proprietors. They expect to collect over $7 trillion over the next 10 years.
Wow.
$7 trillion is the number they say is out there that these people aren't paying. They're not the big corporations. They're not the rich people because they're all over them already.
Mm-hmm.
Who's supposed? It's the small businesses that owe payroll tax, that owe income tax, Social Security taxes. Now, I'm not saying it's right but you're going to get an army after these people. You know how many people they're going to destroy and put out of business?
Oh, geez, it's like countless. My God,
does anything? It's counterproductive. So what you got to do is and I'm not saying this to people. Yeah, I want people to hire me. I have a business. But I can't handle everybody. There's no way.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And of course, I mean, you're very popular as well, too, just like many of us. Since there's always referrals and everything else. And
we're putting together a team of accountants that will hit because we're going to get an onslaught once people realize, that I'm right on with this stuff. Accountants agree with me. They're not like me. They don't have podcasts. They're not talking to people. But what you're going to have to do is you got to be stealth. You can't do business as a sole proprietor. They're going to start auditing S Corps now too. That's what I'm hearing. They're going to start. You got to be stealth. You got to have a professional. If you can't afford a professional, then you might want to close your business.
Yes.
The business is only going to cause you problems. If you can't afford about $1,500 to $2,000 a year, investing in what are we talking about? 200, what is that? 100, like 150 a month, right? Mm-hmm. To protect your business and your family. People spend more than that at Starbucks.
Oh, yeah. Or even online shopping, too, like Amazon and, Target or wherever else, or even go shopping at Walmart. You're right.
It's just a matter of percent. They're like, oh, I can't afford it. Yeah. You know what? I used to, if I got a business, now this is when I only worked with established businesses. I would get new businesses, but I would make them an S Corp and make them established businesses. But my minimum was like $250 a month just to start out.
Mm-hmm.
I got that down to $47 a month.
Wow. And that's and that's amazing as well, too. And how do people find out more about Bedrock Business Builders, and how do they reach you?
Yes. So this has been great, Mike. I really enjoyed talking about this. I appreciate the opportunity. And all they have to do is go to bedrockbusinessbuilders.com. I have a great team. I have a great website. I have nothing to do with it. They do it all, and all the information is up there. We have workshops, we have events, we have the podcast. There's a lot of resources up there to help people.
We certainly will do so. Once again, we're with the founder of Bedrock Business Builders, Joe DiChiara, here on the Mike Wagner Show. Just a few more things, Joe. We'd love to have you back in 2021 and beyond, and perhaps more up on the business and tax situation for next year. And what else can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond?
We're focusing right now on doing a whole big S-Corp blitz, okay? We're going to be rocking the internet world with S-Corp, anti-LLC, why you shouldn't be an LLC. LLCs are searched about 1,000 times more than S-Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to do a campaign saying, listen, before you become an LLC, or if you are an LLC, you need to talk to us. And that's what we're on a major campaign. There's 25 million sole proprietors, Mike. I'm like, I think I have enough of a market. Right? And we have an important message. It's important.
Mm-hmm. And definitely is important as well, too. I mean, you got a great thing going as well, too. And who do you consider your biggest influence in your career, Joe?
Oh, man, there's so many. Right now, I'm working with a former Special Ops Green Beret. His name is Larry Broughton. And, you know, I owe a lot to Larry. I can't believe I got him as a coach. He owns Broughton Hotels. They, before COVID, they were doing like over $250 million a year. So he's like a major entrepreneur, and he's been teaching me how to scale my business. My friend, my brother, this guy Vince DiGiamo, who when I wouldn't be a CPA if it wasn't for him. He took me under his wing, and for like, I think I'm doing his taxes for like 40 years now.
Wow.
Yeah, and he still mentors me. So between those two people and sandwich it, too many people that I could even mention that. But, you know, and that's not by coincidence. You know, I feel like I've accomplished a lot, and hardly any of it has to do with me. It has to do with the people that I surrounded myself with, the people that support me, my team. You know, I've been in business a long time. I never had a website like I have now. I never had a team like I have now. I never had as many clients as I have now. You know, so if I could just give some, you know, your listeners a word of advice, you're not all that important. You're not all that special. You might have something special. You might have some special talents, but surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, that are more successful than you. And the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to up your game. If you play basketball against a better team, you'll get better. You might lose a lot, but you'll get better.
And that's certainly true too. It's just like, you know, the fact that you know, younger players go up against the more experienced guys, and yet the younger guys get better as time goes on. You're exactly right, and that's a really good point.
You know, they say water seeks its highest level, right?
Mm-hmm.
It just works. And they told me that, my grandmother told me, my mother told me, you know, look at your friends. Who are your friends? You know, your five best friends. Who are the people you spend the most time with? Because that's who you are, or who you're going to be. You're going to turn into them. You know, if you go into a barbershop long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
Mm-hmm.
So you just try to surround yourself with great people, and they'll lift you. They'll just bring you with them.
Right, yeah. And I was going to ask you about what's the best advice you can give. I mean, you give some great advice, Joe. And of course, once again, with Joe DiChiara of Bedrock Business Builders with Mike Wagner Show. Joe, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Learned a lot from you as well, too. Looking forward to having you again soon. Just keep us up to date. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people just simply check you out, check out your books, and check out your services?
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
And don't forget the website and how do people contact you?
Oh, like I said, it's bedrockbusinessbuilders.com. I would love to invite your listeners to our mastermind. It's every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And you just go to mastermindwithjoe.com.
We certainly will do so. Once again, Joe, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot from you. Looking forward to having you again soon. Just keep us up to date, keep in touch, and love to have you back. You've been absolutely amazing, Joe.
Thank you, Mike. This was fun.
Picture this photo books, where remembering is the key ingredient. Preserving memories, keeping the memories of your loved ones alive as they reach in and touch your heart. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. The holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whether it's a gift of past holidays, grandma's recipes, long ago moments, or just because, those smiles and tears will melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809. Once again, that's 646-798-0809. Or visit picturethisphotoBooks.com.
Hey everybody, my name is Forbes Riley, and I'm an American actress and a TV host. And I was delighted when I got my copy of Missing, which is Extraordinary Relation of Ordinary People based on a real life relationship. It's well written. It's amazing. It talks about a man who has lost his wife and his daughter, and it's very well done. I'm going to highly recommend that you go get your copy of Missing. It is a powerful, exciting read. Mr. Mian Moshe Zia. He is the author of Missing. And I want to give a big shout out and a kiss all the way halfway around the world to my dear friend. Check him out at Mia's website. It's called www.miamotionzea.com. Missing, available on Amazon. Again, I'm Forbes Riley, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
The Mike Wagner Show is powered by Sonic Web Studios. If you're looking to start or upgrade your online presence, visit www.sonicwebstudios.com for all of your online needs. Sonic Web Studios specializes in custom web design, app development, social networking, search engine optimization, domain registration, email marketing, online stores, and more. Since our birth, we have been designing and developing immaculate websites and providing web solutions which are a cut above the rest. As a leading web designing enterprise, we have a team of extremely talented web designers who are well-focused and have the experience of working on multiple web developing platforms such as PHP, Magento, custom WordPress, and more. Sonic Web Studios has been helping businesses of all kinds, whether big, small, established, or startup, impress their audiences with exemplary web solutions. We don't just create beautiful and functional websites. We give you a complete online solution with the main goal of enhancing your yearly revenues. We aim to give your business the online exposure and brand acknowledgement that will help you in achieving increased conversions leading to profitable sales. Call 1-800-303-3960 or visit us online at www.sonicwebstudios.com to get started today. Mention the Mike Wagner Show and get 20% off your project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show can be heard on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, Anchor FM, Radio Public, and themikewagnershow.com. Please support our program with your donations at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again next time for another great episode of The Mike Wagner Show.